Hey Tribe, it's Stephanie Dickson and welcome to The Wedge TV, your weekly dose of inspiration, knowledge and action. There is an exciting festival on our Asian shores where fun and social responsibility go hand in hand in a whole new adventure. Think morning meditation, massive art installations, food from some of the best chefs around the world and music to dance the night away. The cherry on top of the pie is that it is carbon neutral and has sustainability at its heart. Wonderfruit is Thailand's pioneering lifestyle festival entering its third year. Today, we are joined by the founder, Pranitan Phornprapha, the third generation business tycoon of Siam Motors Group. Pranitan has been involved in eco and environmentally friendly projects since his youth and actively promotes sustainable living by focusing on current cultural trends. Pete, thank you so much for joining us on Wedge TV. So a festival where you can go to yoga, where you can experience talks and all this incredible stuff. Wow, like it's just amazing. So I'd love to start off by understanding, how did you even come up with the idea for Wonderfruit?
So initially I was working on this environmental campaign. My dad came up with this project like 25 years ago called Think Earth. So back then, you know, especially in Asia, it was considered very groundbreaking, I think, to be speaking about things like climate change and you know, replanting coral reefs and all that. So I grew up with that, and then so when I had graduated, I asked him to relive the project, and so I started working on that and I started doing that for I think 2-3 weeks. And then I decided that, you know, that was very much something that belonged to him, and during that time and that period as well. But it definitely inspired me to start the trajectory that is Wonderfruit, and using that type of movement and putting it together with, you know, I think more culturally relevant, easily accessible things such as art and music and food and all that, and yeah, and that's how Wonderfruit was born. Is really the marriage of you know, wanting to do something to create a positive impact, but making sure that it's done in a very fun, relevant, digestible way that isn't really like telling people what to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful point that you touched on there. It's like making it fun and accessible and not preaching, but
yes,
in a really, you know, all-encompassing and welcoming way.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
And the festival has a really beautiful ethos, so maybe you can share a little bit more about the ethos of the festival.
Mm-hmm. Well, our ethos is really using the arts to promote sustainability or positive impact. And so that's the core of what we do. Mm-hmm. So when we curate content, we start with that first. So we start with like, how can we use this to communicate something? For example, like everything down to like even, you know, the way we construct or food stalls, or the way we construct or fences. And we pull a lot of, I think we're quite fortunate that we live in Thailand, so we pull a lot of culturally in context things as well, like things that have been done a long time ago and haven't been done because of a certain reason, and we, you know, part of the fun is doing that type of research as well, and it's fascinating along the way what you discover about things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really nice that you're bringing in all the cultural aspects as well, and really using the natural resources that, you know, you have available in a really sustainable way. So, what are some of the interesting stuff that's actually happening at the festival? I know you have a couple of different pillars that you sort of, and how do they all play a part into this bigger ethos?
So content-wise, for this year, I think one of the highlights is, you know, we've had a farm on stage ever since year one. And we're coming into year 3, and one of the questions we asked ourselves coming into year 3 was, how can we really reinstate our ethos? Because we were getting to the point, I mean, it's only been 2 years, but you know, people were talking a lot about Wonderfruit and the things, you know, perhaps the other side of Wonderfruit, you know, the fun, the sexiness, the dressing up, all that good stuff, which, you know, it's very important to us as well. But perhaps the ethos had been lost a bit. Not to us, because you know, all along the way when we as I described, the way we curate things, it's at the heart of it. But the way perhaps we communicated it, was it got covered by all the other fun things.
Bells and whistles.
Yeah, all the other bells and whistles, the lights, and the other stuff. So we had a farm in year 1. In year 2, we expanded a little bit that farm. But year 3, we decided, the best way to demonstrate our ethos really is to really show it on a to demonstrate it on a larger scale rather than like just try to communicate it. This year, I think one of the highlights is that whole farm area. We've designed a stage around it. So it's a stage. The stage also includes the physical stage, which is going to be made out of rice that we've grown. So we've grown, and we've also gone to farmers who plant organic rice, and we've bought their yield. And this is actually a cultural context of rice, which is a main pillar of Thai society as well. That back in the northeast region, farmers used to do these rice ceremonies before the rain and after the rain. They would build these what they call rice castles. And they weren't very big in scale, but like the one we're building is like 35 meters and 15 meters tall, but it was quite sizable. But nowadays you can't really find these rice castles just because most of the farmers have departed from natural organic farming. They've gone to mass commercial, so there's no really need for, and that type of culture and beauty of those type of festivals have been lost. So we've trying to recreate that just to kind of provoke people's thoughts a little bit about a simple thing such as rice. And so there's going to be that stage and the area around it. We're actually growing rice, and we're doing workshops on rice yeah. So a simple thing like rice, but the profoundness of it, I think, is you can explore it for days. So that's a really exciting thing that we're doing, is that this rice stage, and it's going to look beautiful. It's probably the most sustainable stage in the world, I think, because you grow it, it becomes a huge stage, and then after that you can actually mill it and eat it. So we might do another little festival where we try to invite chefs and do like a little cookout maybe after that. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think that really demonstrates Wonderfruit at its core is really using these type of things and to put it in a new type of context. So we like to push and do more of that.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of innovative ways that you're also being sustainable as a festival, because obviously, with this many people coming through and these kind of setups, there's obviously quite a big carbon footprint. So maybe you can walk some of the ways that you're actually being innovative with your sustainability efforts as well.
Yes. So this year, again, for us, it's really important that whatever we do in terms of sustainability, we use Wonderfruit as a platform to showcase it first. So the first year we banned plastics. We still ban it to this day. There's no plastics on site. Everything we use is either natural or biodegradable or everything. So yeah, basically no plastic. So the other thing is, I think social responsibility for us means to be aware of the impact that you have. So it's a lot of people, I think, especially now, the trend, especially with organic and healthy living, it's still very for yourself, which is good. I think you have to maintain that. You have to look into yourself first before you can help. But we would encourage also people to explore the impact that it has on the earth as a whole. So the idea of carbon tax, although ideally, it may not be the complete solution, but I think it definitely triggers somebody to think before they do. So that's something we definitely want to instill, and that's why this year we've teamed up with Rimbaraya, and also we've teamed up with Thor Heyerdahl Mangrove in Myanmar to not only offset our carbon, but we're actually pushing it beyond that, where we're net positive. So so basically planting trees, planting mangroves, and also at the festival you'll have the chance to buy a tree drink. It's going to cost a little bit more than a normal drink, but it's going to be curated by a really top bartender from New York who we work with, and it's going to be a special drink, and the extra amount that you pay, it's going to be $1 more, basically 35 baht. It will go into planting more trees in Myanmar. So you'll have that option as a participant to have fun, drink, and also you're planting a tree. So I think it's quite ideal.
Yeah, no, I love all those little extra things as well. And as you said, it's just in a very nice way helping people to understand their impact as well. So
Yes.
I mean, when we talk about conscious living as well, it's very similar, understanding your decisions impact you, but they also have a ripple effect on the
Yes.
environment and your surroundings as well.
Yes.
So I think, it's really nice to do that, as you said, in a fun way, like buy a drink, just pay $1 extra and we'll plant a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Having a good implementation there. So what has been one of the biggest challenges that you faced while doing Wonderfruit, and how did you kind of overcome that?
Biggest challenges? Well, I mean, I think in the beginning when we started Wonderfruit, frankly, we were a little bit innocent and slightly foolish as well, because we wanted to do an event, and then it turned out to be a full-blown 4-day festival. But I think that naivety is also quite important, I think, especially if you want to make a big impact. I think that's a key thing, because or else then there will be too many questions asked about why not to do it. I mean, it's tough doing something we do. It's really not very commercial, as in, it takes a lot of time, and we deal with like 300-400 moving parts from all over the world. So it's a challenge to definitely put together. But along the way, I think we get to meet amazing people, and it seems to gravitate and magnetize the right people. Like, for example, that's why I have the honor of sitting with you here as well, because it just seems to connect these dots, and you get to meet people who are doing amazing things and having a good time doing it, which is I think the most rewarding part of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love that idea of the magnetism as well. It's like people just drawn to this because your ethos is really powerful.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely coming across with all of your communication this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone that has a mission or something that they're super passionate about and they really want to go and do something big about it, so kind of like what you've done with Wonderfruit, what advice do you have for them? Like how, any tips or tricks so that they can actually go out and achieve their dream as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say like just do it, but I think we've become more pragmatic along the way, and I think the first thing is probably do your research well. I think facts and data is very important to use, so do that well. Understand the context at play, and then choose the path accordingly. So, and also surround yourselves. I think this is really key. Surround yourselves with people who are similar, have a similar mentality, along the way, talking about the gravitation. I think that comes naturally if you're doing something like this. Then you tend to meet people along the way who have a similar mindset. So.
Beautiful, thank you. So what are you most looking forward to at the festival?
Me, I'm looking forward to, I think the farm stage is actually, I'm really excited seeing that come to life. Most of the art programs I think we're really proud of. Actually, maybe I'm just looking forward to like relaxing, letting loose.
Once it starts, it's like all autopilot.
Yeah.
By that point.
Yeah, I'm just. Most people in our team have walkie-talkies, but I tend to keep mine shut for the 4 days because I get like bombarded with too many things. But yeah. So I think it's important doing these things. Like I meet a lot of these festival or like these big event organizers, and they have a hard time enjoying their own creation.
What they've built,
Yeah. So I try to make it a point to try to enjoy it as well. Yeah. So.
Good. I'm going to remind you about that when you're looking really stressed.
Yes, please.
Like, hey, remember, you got to enjoy it.
Yes, please.
And so my final question is, what is your favorite wedge of wisdom or a life mantra that you live by?
Well, I think like my dad always said, and I didn't really understand this when I was young, like very young, but he was like, don't wait for the mountain to come to you, right? Or you've got to go toward. I mean, obviously that just means that I think if you want to, if you want to or believe in something, then I think you set your mind to it and go out and get it. But again, I think in this day and age, we have to be quite pragmatic also about the approach that we're gonna go about it. So yeah, I've always been someone who is quite action oriented. I think about things, but I think about it, and my impulse and my mind always tells me to do it. So perhaps I don't have a lot of that reservation. Or maybe perhaps I'm just a little bit foolish. But I think if it's for the right purpose, then it's a good thing. So.
No, I think it's great that you're able to tune into that and just know in your gut and have that reading.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, don't have that. They get confused and they don't have that, ability to just take action. So I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd be very grateful if you subscribe to our channel and maybe even share it along with a friend. I hope you learned something today so you can live more consciously tomorrow.